Hey, what's happening, YouTubers? We're back with a brand new action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Hasbro Marvel Legends Ms. Marvel, based on her appearance in the Disney Plus series Ms. Marvel. And I did just get this in from Amazon, and I'm hyped to review it just because I was a huge fan of the show. But like we always do with the reviews, let's get started with the box art first. So as you can see, this soon-to-be obsolete Marvel Legends style box because plastic-free going forward. But you see the Marvel Legends logo on the top, Marvel Studios logo on the bottom, the Ms. Marvel logo on the bottom as well, and the Disney Plus logo as well. And then on the side, you can see the image artwork of Ms. Marvel. And then on the back, you can see it is part of the Infinity Ultron wave. I'm not going to pick up the whole wave immediately. I'm not in a rush to get the rest of this just because I remember seeing the reviews and the photos of Infinity Ultron, and, you know, just to be blunt, it's really underwhelming. But there's 7 figures total in the wave, 6 needed to complete the Build-A-Figure, and the biggest piece, which is the torso, comes with Ms. Marvel. There's also info on Ms. Marvel. Feel free to pause it if you want to go ahead and read it. But that's enough about the box art. Let's go ahead and get Ms. Marvel out of the box. All right, here's Ms. Marvel out of the box. Let's take a look at her accessories first. And it's not many, to be honest. It's few and far between. But she does come with the torso piece of the Infinity Ultron Build-A-Figure. So the figure does come with 2 sets of hands. There's a set of fists and a set of gripping hands, which I don't really know why because she's not really gripping any accessories. All right, now let's take a look at the figure itself. And we'll get started with the head sculpt first. So I do like the use of the photoreal tech. It does have that likeness to the actress Iman Vellani. I think Hasbro did a fantastic job with the sculpting of that. The hair looks sculpted very well. I do like how they kind of kept it as kind of like a neutral pose as opposed to like a swept one like you've seen in past figures. But I think overall the head sculpt looks pretty well. I do like the sculpting of the mask as well. And when taking a look at the rest of the figure, I do love the metallic finish on here. It's kind of reminiscent of the Eternals ones. And the reason why I like the metallic finish, it sort of gives it more that pop that makes it feel like a live action figure, as opposed to like the comic counterparts. But I think the use of the metallic finish here look awesome. And you can definitely see the fine details on her sculpting and the texture on her arms. And I do like the sculpting of the bangle links. I think Hasbro did an awesome job with that. As I mentioned earlier about that texture, it looks like it goes consistently throughout the whole attire down to the legs. One thing I'll mention, though, is I wish they would have given Ms. Marvel the double-jointed elbow treatment. She does have double-jointed pinless knees, which is awesome. I just wish she would have gotten it for the arms as well. Now, when getting into articulation, her head can move from side to side, no problem. It can't really look up or down that well just because of the scarf kind of hindering it. There is a shoulder joint right there, so you can move it up and down and around. There is a single jointed elbow, which I mentioned I wish this would have gotten double jointed just because like that looks weird to me right there, which is kind of hanging out like that. And then, of course, there is a hinge at the wrist, and you can also swivel it. There is a diaphragm cut, which you can't really get much movement out of the diaphragm cut either. Damn. But her legs do have the ability to kick out that much. It looks like the outfit just hinders a lot of the articulation, which is unfortunate. But there are double jointed knees, which, wow, that gets a pretty good range right there. And then, of course, ankle articulation with a hinge, and then also ankle pivot. Also, one more point of articulation. When I was showcasing the bangle links actually can move, like swivel on its own without having to move the entire forearm. So there is movement in there as well. Now I'm just going to jump right into size comparisons, and first size comparison, here's Ms. Marvel standing next to her Gamerverse counterpart, but I actually use this for my comic book display just because the color palette's similar. But one thing to note on this figure, I do wish Hasbro went this direction in terms of her attire, just because on this one there's actually more movement, whereas this one gets hindered by the skirt piece. Like they could have used a softer plastic so it's easy to articulate and to move around and pose, but that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. The next size comparison, here's Ms. Marvel standing next to a couple Captain Marvel figures from the MCU. We have the Captain Marvel figure from the first movie and the Captain Marvel figure based on her appearance in Endgame. Now, initially when I saw these figures side by side online, I thought that Ms. Marvel was sort of out of scale and she should be a lot shorter than Captain Marvel. But shoutouts to Shelf Avengers for pointing out that the 2 actresses in real life are actually closer in height, more so than I thought. And next size comparison, here's Ms. Marvel standing next to a couple other younger characters in the MCU. We have America Chavez and Peter Parker. And last size comparison, here she is standing next to MJ and Ned, which is going to be the figure of the year. You can call it now. All right, some overall thoughts on the figures. I really like it. It's a nice addition to my MCU display, and I really like the paint application, like the metallic finish. As I mentioned earlier, with metallic finish on certain figures in the MCU, it makes it stand out more and kind of pop. It feels more like a live action figure. Now, when it comes to accessories or lack thereof, it's not a big deal to me like it is to some people. just because the entire wave apart from Mr. Knight and Sharon Carter are brand new tooling. So there is kind of a give and take. If we get brand new sculpts and brand new tooling, of course it's going to be less on the accessory side, which I'm fine with, just because the effect piece you see right here can easily be reused. This is from the blue Marvel figure, so you can easily just put that on the figure and just have your effects right there. Overall, I do like it. I do wish it did have like double jointed elbows, but apart from that, it's a solid figure. But let me know what you think in the comments below, YouTubers. What do you think about this figure? Will you be picking it up? And like always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.